I'm Dan Brown, repping FuseTV here at the Fuse Gallery, and we're here to dive into the deep end of what's happening with new releases and their cover art. And helping me out to understand the good, the bad, and the confusing, as always, is Carlo McCormick. Hey, Carlo, how's it going?
Good to see you again.
He's an art critic, senior editor at Paper Magazine. You're a renowned author. You ready for this?
Yeah, I am. Would you like to go look at some art?
I'd love to go look at some art.
Let's do it.
So here we have Justin Bieber's highly anticipated and just released new album, Believe, where he's supposed to be coming of age. Does this communicate that effectively, do you think?
It's not a bad record cover. I mean, I can't vouch for the contents. I saw some other version where it was more like color, and I think by black and white you don't get quite the horrific, creepy alien effect that all that photoshopping on the color gives you. And then the yellow kind of offsets it nicely. What's weird about it is kind of just the concept. Belief. Belief is an act of faith, and the way they package this whole thing seems very much like one of those false gods, like some sort of teen idol from the past, and so they're asking people to believe. Why do we need to believe in him? Because everyone else says he's crap. It's got that kind of fetishistic quality by which people worship icons and idols.
And isn't that the point?
I suppose so. That's why I think it's kind of smart. I just say it's a little bit creepy.
Well, here we have Overexposed by Maroon 5, the album which features their current hit single, Payphone. Not that anyone walks through CD stores anymore, but if you were to walk through a CD store and see this, it would certainly jump off the shelf at you.
Yes.
But from an artistic perspective, does it jump off the wall at you?
Well, you know, it would be the type of thing that I'd probably buy just for the album cover art and then regret it in the end, because that's normally what happens. But it's rife with that kind of candy-coated pop psychedelia that was so, popular in the 60s, sort of, Martin Sharp's stuff for Cream, or Heinz Edelman, who did like Yellow Submarine, or things like that. I wonder if it even sounds like that. So what's the purpose? Because that particular visual code has really no meaning anymore in subculture, or really much context anymore. So what's kind of interesting is that it is all pretty compelling, and yet probably accumulates to nothing. I mean, it lacks meaning. But it's good.
Here we have Chris Brown's new album, Fortune, as you can clearly see in this new Wingdings-esque font that he has invented. Do you like the font? Is that a good font?
It's a good font. It's a good font. I mean, what's kind of interesting to me, beyond all the other elements to it, is that, this is normally where you put the album title, right?
Yeah.
And there's this other language here, and it's sort of a bit like Chris Brown himself now. It's a cipher. I mean, when you ask people what they think of Chris Brown, and that could be what you think of his life and his bio or of his music, it's sort of like the cipher. It's so predetermined. Everyone has their own reading of him. Some people will never forgive him for what he's done. Other people think his music's garbage, and other people think he's like the greatest thing that ever happened. So I think it works really good that way, that he's basically admitting that like he is this cipher. He's physicalizing it.
So right here we have Fiona Apple's new album, The Idler Wheel is Wiser Than the Driver of the Screw, and Whipping Cords Will Serve You More Than Ropes Will Ever Do. Very succinct title there. And she actually drew this herself. So is she an artist in more ways than simply in the musical ways?
It's a great drawing, and it makes a fantastic cover, but I have to say that these are the kind of drawings that shrinks like, and that art therapists see way too often. This is the kind of art that's done by kind of schizophrenics. I hate to say it, but it's the whole identity just totally disassembled and falling apart. And I think the girl puts out a record like once a decade at this point. I think we all think that she might be a little batty. So it's maybe as a self-expression she says too much, or maybe she's talking about the way, especially with that title, about the way in which we have to assemble our identities, and about the myriad ways that she's misread. But this is, if you looked at this as a shrink, basically, and say like, what's it say about that person? It's kind of disturbing.
So right here we have the Smashing Pumpkins' new album, Oceania. Looks like a lighthouse that's maybe been repurposed as a cell tower, or maybe just like an old chimney. What does it mean?
It's a strong, iconic image, and it conveys a lot of things they'd probably like to convey. It's monumental, it's phallic, obviously. It's it's kind of solitary. It's all these things, but I think it also kind of conveys an obsolete structure that actually has no use anymore, which is a little bit what they are as well.
So, judging exclusively based off of the cover art, which one of these albums do you think will chart the highest?
Justin Bieber, it's the ultimate fake currency.
And is that really just from the album art alone, or is that...
No, it has a little bit to do with fame, I think.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Carlo McCormick, for helping us dissect and understand what's happening this month in the world of cover art. We're curious to know which one of these album covers tickled your artistic sensibilities the most. Leave a comment, let us know. And to check out last month's album cover art, click over there. Check out my weekly show with Fuse, click over here. And subscribe to Fuse. I'm talking out of my ass here.
Yeah, we all do.